Now that we have some idea of what Morse code is and what it really consists of, we can really start learning and memorizing it for different characters. Each letter and number is encoded by a specific sequence of dots and dashes separated by one basic unit of time, or if you would remember from the previous lecture, the duration of one dot. It can often get very confusing if you simply try to sit and learn each code as seen from the chart on the left, since there is no real pattern behind the code. The logic behind the code is how often that character is used in communication, which explains why the letter E has the shortest code of just one dot, or which is one time unit long, while the letter Y has the code dash dot dash dash, which is 13 units of time long. Coming back to the main point of memorizing the code, I'm going to introduce a way which would make this process far simpler for you. Most beginners who wish to learn International Morse code use syllabic mnemonics, where every letter is associated with a particular word or phrase, where the unstressed syllable is a dot and the stressed syllable is a dash. Let's start with the example of A. We use the syllabic mnemonic of apart. Here in apart, A would be the unstressed syllable and part would be the stressed syllable. Hence, the Morse code for A is dot dash a part. We can also look at the syllabic mnemonic for C, which is Coca-Cola, where co would be the stressed syllable and ka and la would be the unstressed syllable. Hence, you can guess that the Morse code for the letter C is dash dot or Coca-Cola. You can also do it for the letter K, where it would be kangaroo, where can and ru would be the stressed syllables and g would be the unstressed syllable. Hence, the Morse code for K would be dash dot dash or kangaroo. It doesn't always have to be a word, and it doesn't have to start with the same letter as well. If you would see for the letter J, we use the syllabic mnemonic of let's jump, jump, jump. Over here, let's is the unstressed syllable and jump is the stressed syllable, but it doesn't start with the letter J and nor is it a word. But it's still a helpful way of remembering that the Morse code for J is dot dash dash dash. Moving on to numbers, there is really a pattern behind how each number is encoded. We start off by remembering that each number has 5 signals of a random combination of dots and dashes. Now, for the numbers 0 to 5, we start with the number of dots as the number itself. So for 0, the code would start with 0 dots, and with the number 2, it would start with 2 dots. Once we're done with the dots, we fill in the remaining gaps of those 5 signals with dashes, and hence the Morse code for 0 would start with 0 dots and 5 dashes, so just 5 dashes. Whereas for 3, it would start with 3 dots and you fill up the remaining 2 gaps with dashes, so dot 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 dash dash. For the number 6 to 9, it gets a bit more complicated. First, you subtract 5 from the number and start with those many dashes. Then, for the remainder of the 5 signal code, you fill it up with dots. So, for the number 6, you would start with 6 minus 5 or 1 dash and fill it up with 4 dots to complete the 5 signal code. And for 9, you would start with 9 minus 5 or 4 dashes and fill it up with 1 dot. So 4 dashes and 1 dot. Now that we're through with numbers, we would also want to learn how to decipher Morse code rather than just encoding it, because an important part of communication is not just sending messages but also receiving it. And hence, we use this chart seen on the left, where if you move on to the left side, it is 1 dot, and if you move on to the right side of this tree, it is a dash. And hence, this chart is really a very helpful way of decoding the Morse code that you receive. In the next lecture, we really look at how we can structure this Morse code that we have learned so it forms complete words, sentences, and even paragraphs.